Hey, what the hell? Why you hanging on the roof all by yourself? I have an open invitation, but you're telling me go get lost. I don't wanna see your face. Yeah, what the hell? So why don't we stay out to the morning light? 'Cause two wrongs can make a right. We're just doing what we're feeling right now. So Chardonnay, we camp in the parking lot. Leave traces of plastic cups. We're just doing what we're feeling right now. So what the hell? Why you hanging on the roof all by yourself? Always waiting for the one, but I got news for you. I'm the best that you can get, so what the hell? What the hell? So what the hell? So what the hell? What are you waiting for now? You're pretending that you like somebody else, like you got boys waiting in line to take you home. But tell the truth, you'll spend the night alone. Let's be alone. So why don't we stay out to the morning light? 'Cause two wrongs can make a right. We're just doing what we're feeling right now. So what the hell? Why you hanging on the roof all by yourself? Always waiting for the one, but I got news for you. I'm the best that you can get, so what the hell? What the hell are you waiting for? So what the hell? So what the hell? What are you waiting for now? So what the hell? Why you hanging on the roof all by yourself? Always waiting for the one, but I got news for you. I'm the best that you can get, so what the hell? What the hell? So what the hell?
You don't like the lights, but it's camera time. Said take the picture, but you rolled your eyes. Now I'm mortified.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Melon Patch League. It's our second week of doing this show, and I have a whole bunch of lovely people with me. Coach Scully over here, right next to me, Wolfie right underneath me, and then Volts in the bottom right of the screen. I'm Mr. Bepic, of course. It's lovely to have all of you fine gentlemen with me. How are y'all doing? I'll start with you, Scully.
I am doing absolutely amazing. I'm very excited for today's action and excited to get a little bit of discussion going about the league and what's happened over the last week.
Yes, that's exactly what we'll be doing. Wolfie, how are you doing, my friend?
Dude, I am ready to get going. Being in here with y'all, cannot wait to talk shop and really see how what we think tonight's going to really look and what we've seen throughout this past week. So it should be a really fun night tonight.
Yes, sir. And Volts, last but not least, go ahead.
Oh, super excited to be here. Happy to be in front of the camera again with the Melon Patch League. I don't get to sneak on here too often, but we've got so much great content to cover, Bepic. I'm super excited. And quite frankly, I'm just ready to roll straight into it.
Oh yeah, if there's anyone that would know about everything that's going on in the MPL, it would be you, Volts. And the four of us here have picked out our favorite series to go over that have happened since the last show that went on last Thursday. So, Volts, since you are the know-it-all of this entire league, the brains behind the operation, talk about your favorite best of seven you've seen that last week.
Oh, I don't know if we should call me the brains. My last two brain cells struggle sometimes to make things happen. But I'm going to roll with a week 2 matchup here. It was a huge bounce back week. In week 1, you saw Untamed 4-0 Empire Esports, which was shocking to a lot of people, especially if you remember the Twitter poll. Empire was favored, guys, and so it was a really, really surprising defeat there. But a great bounce back win against Valkyrie Array this week in week 2, able to pick up the win 4-2. They currently sit in 3rd place, which is just barely an auto qual to the playoffs. But they've got a challenging road ahead of them. But Wolfie, what's your pick this week?
I'm gonna have to go from last night's match, a Team Revenge versus 1KD,
Okay.
KD team, 1000 Dreams, that is for the abbreviation there. Just because of how what both teams not winning their first game in week one and really were able to change the focus in week two. One of them had to win, and the night before the 1000 Dreams match versus Team Revenge, 1000 Dreams saw Team Revenge in their own tournament and took Team Revenge down. So it was great to see them able to.
Wow.
It was great to see them be able to come the next day and just switch it up and say, "Hey, we're the victors tonight."
What was the series score over at that?
I remember that
Revenge
went to
1000?
4-1.
4-1.
No, I'm talking about over in the Revenge tourney.
Oh,
Oh,
and it was the best of one, and it just went to one with 1000 Dreams taking it.
That's brutal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
dang.
is brutal.
That's one heck of a comeback. Wolfie, I'm right with you. One of my highlight matches was that Revenge versus 1000 Dreams. Sarge making some amazing defensive efforts consistently coming out of the net from the corner of the camera. It seemed just out of nowhere. But since you've already taken that one, I'll go with the one that I personally casted, and that was Short Circuit Gaming versus Naptown. Talking about bounce back weeks, right? You had
Yeah.
Revenge taken down by Meteor in week one, and then coming back 4-1 1000 Dreams. Short Circuit Gaming got 4-1 in week one by Circuitry. They got the game pretty well handed to them, to be completely honest. It was fairly one-sided on the side of Circuitry. Short Circuit had their competitiveness. They had their sparks, to no pun intended. But
You found the caster.
right.
Yes, we did.
But in week two, they came back and they got their game differential back by storm. Short Circuit taking Naptown 4-0, just a complete domination of the pitch, 100% controlling the game, getting the chance even to throw in some clips and some style points at them, just to show the difference in level that we have in the tournament sometimes, with Short Circuit just absolutely monstrously on top of that game. I loved Naptown's adaptability, though. If there's an underdog that I really enjoyed watching, Naptown did not show signs of fatigue. They did not show signs of progressive disorganization or even extreme frustration. They just adapted perfectly every time. The just gap in skill level wasn't there. That's why it's one of my highlights. I love seeing the adaptability of an underdog, even if it doesn't end up going their way.
I watched that series from the spectators booth, and Race was insane. Oh my word, the clips that
Oh
dude
my
was hitting
goodness.
Yeah,
in that series.
clips.
Normally, it's Aviator that people look to on
Yeah.
SCG to be that super mechanical player, but Race was the one hitting clips in that series. And that leaves me with one of the other week two matches that I did get to cast as well. Lights Out versus Rain Esports went all 7 games. Good for both teams' game differentials, but it was lights out thanks to Kevbert and his heroics all across the field that won them that series. He stepped up in so many ways, defensively making huge saves, and offensively the setup man so often. I was genuinely impressed with Lights Out there, and they got that bye in week one, and then to come out in week two and take that big win over Rain, that was great for them. I was quite impressed.
So
And,
Bepik, looking at Lights Out, of course, taking Rain 4-3. Rain moves to 1-1 after they had taken down 1000 Dreams in week one. I believe this is the bracket. You had a 3-way tie up top in this bracket, correct?
let me pull up yes, I did. Team Meteor, Lights Out, and Rain. I'll go in 3-1.
So that's still very much alive as of right now. I know the Rain lost the Lights Out, kind of throws a wrench in that, but with how Revenge is playing, you could very well be correct with a 3-way tie up top in Group A, which means somebody's going to be the 3rd seed there.
I don't know. Like that's a crazy prediction. I know as soon as I posted that, you were like, Bepik, if your Group A happens, I don't know what I'm going to think. But yeah, I had Team Meteor winning that by 1 game over Lights Out, and then Rain Esports just below. Revenge, I'm afraid I had them going 0-4, which puts that prediction in a lot of jeopardy. I didn't have much experience with them before this tournament, but now that I've seen them, I don't think a 0-4 is in the cards.
Yeah, I don't either, especially with how well They did end up playing in that game. I mean, moving forward again. I mean, we've got so many competitive groups here. Scully, what's been your favorite thus far? Looking at all of these groups.
Oh man, I think everybody by the time if anybody who's seen me, they kind of know that my heart is in the electric pool, right?
Of
Group
course.
B, the electric group got short circuit and circuitry in there, and now I'm done falling in love with the underdog of Naptown and their adaptability throughout the pitch and how they just stayed alive so long. I have a heart out for Group B right now.
All right, Wolfie, I gotta hear your thoughts here because everyone talks about the group of death. Is that your group to watch, or are you picking C or A?
I was actually, it's really, you said that, but I was looking at the group right now and seeing how it's been unfolding. We came into this one and you said it, it's a group of death, the team, the group that everyone really had their eyes on, such a lot of heavy hitters. And tonight you see a really good game between Prestige and Untamed in that group to really see who gets dominant. So I'm gonna say I've been loving the way Group D has been looking. It looks very even throughout this entire seeding so far. So we have a lot more to come in there, and I really do feel the team that's able to really take advantage of the competition in Group D should have a really good look throughout this entire season.
That is going to be one of the more interesting outcomes
Mhm.
at the end of this group stage.
Mhm.
Volts, I want you to highlight now. You can't talk about Group D or B here. You got to pick C or A. Like, we've kind of already glossed over it, so I'm just going to throw you straight into C. I want to hear your thoughts on that group because it's a lot of somewhat unknown names there. What are you thinking is going to happen in the Group C?
A lot of smaller names and a lot of chaos thus far.
Mhm.
Psyched Gaming hasn't even gotten to play just yet. They had a week 1 bye. They're scheduled to play Friday night for their opening game there against a Dracan team who had some positives and they had some negatives against a La Espada's team who battled through the difficulty of losing a starter in the middle of the season. Power gets cut, ends up having to use their manager. That'll end up being one of the storylines of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Is the manager peaking and carrying them? Blood went over there, just subbed in, ends up carrying them there. So a lot of question marks. I didn't have New Haven beating Escape Velocity. Again, that went the full 7 last week. That was a great series. Series 1 there didn't have that. So there is a big toss up in that pool. I mean, my heart says Psyched Gaming now, but it's tough to doubt La Espadas with how good they look.
And we
Lost
knew this
Spotters,
going into it. We knew this going into it, right? When we were announcing the seedings, we straight up talked that Group C is just a toss-up group. That there's very middle of the road teams as far as the entire skill level of the entire tournament is concerned, and they all seem on paper at least right around that same skill level. And you're right, for last spot is that manager coming in. What a storyline!
Lost Spotters really, really impressed me with their week 1 performance. Wolfie, I never got to hear your predictions. I know you didn't submit them officially, but with your MPL picks unofficially, who'd you have winning Group C?
Group C, looking at it right now, I like Sight Gaming. I have some history with them. Escape Velocity was another team that I thought was gonna come out, but Sight Gaming, just because of how well their fans travel, how well the team is, and I personally saw them this past winter in the Two Hot Christmas Bash. So, and they really impressed. Were able to make it to the third round in that, where they lost to Lights Out, and that's a team that we see in that Group A as another top contender. So, I really have to go and put my chips on them for Group C.
Are we all Psych Gaming believers? Like, do we all
I
have them
think
winning
we
the group?
are.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't.
I do
It's
too.
weird. I don't think anyone actually had come to that conclusion. Look at us go.
I'm sorry. I have to
Oh.
break it. I have to
Ooh.
break it.
No.
Las Espadas.
Okay.
All
I mean,
right.
that's a fair pick.
Was that
It
your
is, yeah.
preseason pick, or is that your pick now?
That I didn't actually fill out the preseason picks. I was
Missed out.
busy and lazy, and I didn't fill out the form. But after watching how they took on Dracon, I have to go with Las Espadas.
I respect that, honestly. I think if I were to be cowardly and change my picks, the Lost Bottles would be one of those teams that might take Psyched Gaming there, but I gotta stick with Psyched. I've not even gotten to see them play yet, so
Yeah,
we
this is
will
true. This is true.
we'll see that on Friday. Now, I want to go over real fast before we do go to our break before segment 2. What are your matchups to watch, Volts? I got to start with you because I know you got the schedule memorized for the MPL. What is a matchup coming up this week that you've got all your eyes on?
I think this is a tough one, but the real one that I have my eye on has to be the New Haven La Espadas team. Because again, I had
Yes.
Escape Velocity as my second in Group C. And with New Haven taking them in 7, I've got to know, were they peaking? Was it did they really come in with a good game plan? Well, La Espadas currently sits atop above them based off solely different game differential. And so the winner of that game will be on top of Group C as we enter kind of the back stretch of the league. I know it feels like we just started, but that's the one for me because that's going to be a huge 1 seed there, and quite frankly, I think probably determines who wins that group.
That's a big litmus test match for both those teams to
Mhm.
see how they do. Now, Wolfie, how about you? What are you looking at in the future?
When looking through here, I really am excited to see this escape velocity versus Las Espadas in that next week coming into it. It should be interesting. Escape velocity. It's
New
another
Haven.
Group C. Oh, sorry, New Haven. It's another group that we get to see who be able to really dominate in that circle. So should be a nice game to see as we continue on. It's something we have to circle our calendar for.
Scully, I know you've got this bombshell matchup that you're going to drop on us here.
Well, for matchups coming on this week, my original one was Las Espadas versus New Haven. Honestly, that's last week's show. You could go back to the VOD of last week. That's the one I picked. But again, I can't just go with the crowd. I got to be a
Exactly.
little bit different. So I really want to pull attention to the one we're going to be talking about here soon after the break. And just bombshell of a match, as you said, Prestige versus Untamed. It's coming up this week, coming up after this show, and there's just so much to talk about there.
There is a lot to talk about, and if you guys are wondering right now why we've hardly mentioned Prestige versus Untamed, that's because we're going to be talking a lot about it after a break we'll be taking in a little bit. But real quick, before we go there, I want to squeeze in my matchup to watch. Lights Out versus Rain is going to be a very important one for Rain, I think, because right now they are sitting at 1-1, which 7-6 in games, and Lights Out looked pretty strong against. Oh wait, hold on, that's already been played.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
did you miss that one?
I was casting that match on Tuesday. So this is the
No, I get
past
it.
me from last weekend taking over Future Me's brain and talking about it.
Well, let's see.
Well,
Did you have it correct?
I I don't even remember what I predicted for that. I had Lights Out taking it in 5, not 7. So I was very impressed with Rain. But I've already talked. I think I actually picked that as my matchup. That was last week. That's already happened. That was important. So look at me go. I'm way too focused on that matchup. But that's all the time we've got for the first segment. I'm going to collect myself and regain after that epic fail that I just had. So, big discussion about Prestige versus Untamed coming up in just a little bit on Melon Patch Gaming channel. Don't go anywhere.
You can save your alibi. I already know you lied. Oh no, no, don't even try. Watch the flame in me ignite. You didn't wanna walk the plank. But then ready or not, it came. Baby, it was dark, it was hard to see. And that's when a spark lit inside of me. Oh, I was lost forever.
The URLC Championship journey begins. Champ Division. Fear. Versus Danigans. GC Division. Loose Green. Versus Bella. Music by Hallenstein. And the main event, Rani versus Bonnie. This is the URLC.
You can save your alibi. I already know you lied. Oh no, no, don't even try. Watch the flame in me ignite. You didn't wanna walk the plank. But then ready or not, it came. Baby, it was dark, it was hard to see. And that's when a spark lit inside of me. Oh, I was lost from reverie. One day you will see what you made of me, what's inside of me. One day you will see I found my inner peace. You are released in the dead of night. In the dead of night. Everyone is so die. You know it's an eye for eye. Feel the energy line. In the dead of night. In the dead of night. In the dead of night. And one day you will see what you made of me, what's inside of me. Oh, and one day you will see I found my inner beast, and you are Jubilees.
Whoa, whoa, oh, I don't wanna take you home with me. Take you home with me. I don't get what you're saying. All of these games you're playing. Can't bother reading your message. No, I'm not here for your show, wasn't asking. But I've been quitting what you're taking. I've been slipping 'cause I'm making.
Welcome back to the second part of the MPL Weekly Show. I'm still Mr. Bepic, joined by Scully, Wolfie, and Volts. This stacked desk is now going to talk about the most stacked matchup I think we're going to get all season until the finals of the MPL. Prestige versus Untamed. This one is going to be huge. And I got to start with you, Wolfie. Just first thoughts on this matchup.
It's a matchup that I think we've all, before coming in here, we're really ready to get going on. These two teams have a lot of history in the RLCS qualifier scene, where we've seen Prestige making to that day 3, a little short for making that main event, and we see the Untamed just in day 2. Trying to get into that day 3. So two really good squads looking to prove themselves and continue on, and Untamed trying to show that they can play with the top dogs.
And Scully, you were doing your research earlier on Prestige especially, so I want to hear about them specifically coming into this matchup and what you're looking out for them.
Prestige is they're the top most favored team in this league, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are projected to go all the way and take the entire event, getting that first place prize. That's what everybody thinks is going to happen. And so far, they do not have too many people in here that can really stand in their way of making that dream come true, except for Untamed early on here. Right now, on the early stages, in the group stages, Untamed, I truly believe, is the only team that they really have to worry about that can really contend with them until they meet Circuitry later on into the playoffs. This is the moment that says, is their train going to keep going, or do we have a mix-up? Do we have somebody coming in and stirring the pot? Prestige almost making main event, almost making RLCS, like was mentioned earlier. Like, that is no small feat. Deep into a day 3 run, that is no small feat. But there's been rumors circulating, right? Small rumors. They could be completely false, that they've been on a little bit of a slump lately. So maybe, just maybe, we're not going to see day 3 Prestige. And maybe that was just a fluke. Maybe it was a peak. I personally don't think that's the case. You can't believe rumors, right, Bepic?
Right. Well, that pot stir, as you aptly mentioned, AMD Sports is the underdog, definitely coming into this match. And Volts, how familiar are you with Untamed? What can you give us heading into this huge best of 7?
All around Untamed, I followed their journey, bracket watching through the RLCS quals, saw them fall just 2 series short of that day 3 mark through lowers that we saw. Prestige able to make it through into that day 3 area. But that Untamed team, especially in week 1, I talked about it, 4-0 over an Empire squad that was favored. They looked really, really good. Little leak here. You might see that 7 was the week 1 MVP of the MPL. You might see that on Twitter in the next 24 hours. So they come in with a lot of momentum. They are on a very, very hot streak. They come in with a lot of momentum. I know the Twitter poll that the MPL put out said 75% thought Prestige was going to win, only 25 with Untamed. I would question that a little bit. I would say some people might have might be sleeping on Untamed.
Well, that poll you mentioned, go follow MPL League on Twitter to stay up to date on those kinds of things. It said 75% Prestige and 25% Untamed. And while we're talking about predictions, we got to figure out where the desk stands, because this is an important piece of knowledge to hold as a viewer going forward, listening to each of these pundits and their opinions on this series. So, Scully, what are you thinking this is going to happen this series?
You can't believe rumors, man. I'm going to pull it in the way of Prestige, and I'm going to say that they come out strong and authoritative at a 4-1.
4-1. Okay, so that is a quick series in terms of where the length it could go. Wolfie, how about you?
Well, I'm on the same mindset as Scully, but I don't think it's going to be as quick. I do think it's going to be a 4-2 series, then go to 6, but man, I'm going because of Prestige, of what they've been able to do. But I'm really conflicted in this chair right now. I love those guys on Untamed, Buffy, G-Man, and Seven. They've been playing their hearts out in a squad that you really cannot scoff at. But I do have Prestige coming away with it. Jay on Twitter said he has to be better after that last qual. So I'm going to say he's been hitting it hard. He's been grinding, and he's going to be a main factor why Prestige is able to come away with it in 6.
Volts?
I'm with Wolfie on this one as well, but I'll be a little bit more specific. 4-2 Prestige, but I think Untamed comes out and punches them in the mouth and takes game 1. And I think that's going to light the fire under Prestige. I think they win the next 3. Untamed takes 3 games to adjust their play style, to really understand what they need to counter. They win a tight game 5, and then they just run out of steam by game 6.
Well,
Okay.
there's a reason I left myself for last, because I knew coming in I was the only person to pick Untamed here. I've casted a lot of Untamed and watched a lot of Untamed esports matches in recent times. I'm very high on this team. 7, the spoiler the Volts gave out earlier, him being the best player in week 1 in the MPL. He's insane. The dude is cracked, and he is going to propel Untamed to a 7-game victory over Prestige Esports. I also have the winner of this series taking the entire group, and that would be Untamed Esports. So we're going to toss it to the group now to toss in more opinions that aren't just specific to predictions.
That's bold. So we got 75% on Twitter, 75% in the booth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Bepic, let me get this straight here. You're going with Untamed.
Yes.
Who is it? Is it 7 again? Who is the driving force? Do you have 7 Buffy or G-Man?
7 is, of course, the team leader offensively there, but it's going to have to be a full squad affair to beat Prestige Esports. They've got that RLCS experience. They were 1 series away from making main event, so it's going to have to be the entirety of Untamed Esports that steps up. Buffy, 7, and G-Man have to be the whole force against Prestige.
Okay, that's fair. I can definitely see that. And then you talked about the implications this has on the future here. Do you still have Prestige at the 2 seed even if they lose this game?
Oh, yeah. I definitely
Okay.
think Untamed and Prestige are that step above the rest in this group, but Prestige coming in at 3-1, yes.
Okay, okay. So what about later on in the entire tournament? Once we get to the playoffs, what do you think is going to happen there? Prestige, Untamed, and some other big names across the league. Let's go deep into the future. Let's be
Yes.
almost Sandman-ish, really get that deep.
All right. Well, I
What?
find in my playoff bracket, the way it worked out, I have Untamed versus Prestige matching up again in the upper semifinals, and that is
Wow.
taken by Prestige. So they'll get their revenge in my perfect world later on, and then come in second in the tournament's grand finals. That's my opinion. Wolfie, I gotta hear yours now. We heard about your predictions earlier, and I've been grilled the last couple of minutes. My word, you guys wanted to hear my opinions on. Now I'm throwing the heat over to Wolfie.
Looking at this, and I'm being honest, like I said, I did not get that official MPL bracket going, but I really do feel it's going to be Group A when we come through it. I think Lights Out is going to be trying to fight through that and playing probably Team Meteor later on in that playoff series to really see which one of them can continue on. But it's going to be a fun one, and I do think looking at that, I think it's going to be a group we're going to have to. It's going to be a little more underrated than we think at those top two positions.
Those
Okay,
top
so going
positions affect everything as well. That's one of the unique
Mhm.
things about the MPL is total domination of your group. Not only lands you as a 1 seed and a 1 through 4 seed, but I mean, if you run through your group, you're the overall number 1 seed here. So we could very well see, a lot of matchups that some people would question. How did these two teams end up in the first round? Well, it's going to come down to your regular season play.
yeah.
Every series matters.
Mm-hmm. Every series does matter. There are a lot of big implications as well. I mean, we're only in week 2. Next time we come back for the show, there's a chance we have teams that have clinched a playoff berth. I believe mathematically the magic number is 3 wins. If you win 3 series, you are in for sure in some form or fashion. So the next time we're back on the show, we will know a couple of the playoff teams.
Oh, that's going to be exciting.
Unless chaos erupts and when like everyone's at the same level, that'd be insane.
Yeah. I was gonna say we actually won't know out of Group Deep Epic if your prediction holds true. The only one who could have a guaranteed playoff spot at the end of week 3 would be Untamed.
We'll see. I mean, I am the
Ooh,
genius when it comes to the bubble scene, so that is what's going to happen. But
obviously.
Prestige, I have a feeling we'll bounce back after this loss.
I love the confidence in the word
Right
after
after
this loss.
this
Man didn't even
loss.
say if they lose. He said after this loss.
I heard that.
Oh man.
That bold. I love it. The 25% speaks the loudest.
Yeah, the voice of the minority over here. It's got to happen. So we talked about my final rankings for both of these teams. Scully, I'm curious to know where you have Prestige and Untamed finishing out their seasons in that playoff bracket, which I assume you have both of them making it too.
Oh goodness! I'm putting Prestige and Untamed in top 4 up there with Short Circuit and Circuitry. I'm just not sure in what order I want that to go.
Mhm.
I'm following a lot of Short Circuit throughout this event, but they just got whooped by Circuitry. So I'm gonna say Circuitry, Prestige, Untamed, Short Circuit.
I respect that,
Okay.
Fultz. I really want to know where you have them as well, because that's kind of the top 4 that everyone has as the consensus top 4. Do you have anyone else subbing in over there, or do you have Prestige above Untamed or below Untamed? Where you have them finishing out?
This is a very difficult group, especially with the Synergy and Valkyrie Array combo in here. Of course,
Mhm.
Valkyrie Array did take down Synergy 4-2, but man, Synergy looked good in week 1 in the first 2 games. And then, of course, Valkyrie Array on a bye next week. Synergy back in action against either an Untamed team that's going to be on Cloud 9 after tonight, or an Untamed team that might have to
Will
rethink
be.
where they're at competitively if tonight goes poorly for them. So a lot of things can happen here. I had Empire making the playoffs, but I also had that Untamed series going in favor of Empire. So looking at this long term, I definitely think we're going to see Prestige, Untamed, and then I honestly I think Valkyrie Array might sneak in that third spot here.
Ooh.
I'm a big
Oh,
fan of that.
Okay.
I like the underdog take, but
Yeah.
ooh.
Wolfie, I gotta know. Now I know I got Scully and Volts, but you're the real person here that I need to know the final four of, because you got the biggest brain out of the four of us.
Oh, oh.
I wouldn't say that there are a lot of great people on this desk, but if I really had to go in and see who our top four would be, I'm gonna say Circuitry, Prestige, Lights Out, and then give me. Let's throw Sight Gaming in there.
Oh,
Okay.
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 This went
Wow.
from sort of ranking Prestige and Untamed at the very end to figuring out who those random teams that we have, joining them in the top. I think it's pretty clear that we've all got them in the near the top four at the end of this thing. But those extra teams, that's interesting. Valkyrie Ray, Sight Gaming. I'm a big fan, guys. Well done.
Yeah, super exciting.
Well, that is getting close to rounding this thing up. We're very close to game time, so I'm gonna go around.
Yes.
I need some final thoughts. If you guys have final thoughts, I know we've talked a lot about this series and where it may or may not be ending, and what teams may or may not be winning. But Scully, I want to start with you. Close us out for going into this next best of 7.
It's going to be a great game with some great casters and brought to you by the greatest league in the bubble scene and a featured match. You know, it's always something to look at. Two great, I'm going to overuse great here a little bit, but two great teams going at each other. This is a clash of titans here, and you're not going to see very many of these in the group stages. Savor it.
Volts, close out.
Nowhere else to be tonight at this time. I mean, we are just 15, actually under 15 now, 10 minutes from kickoff here. I can't wait to sit back and just enjoy this one as a spectator, like everyone else. Be cheering on in Twitch chat, talking with everybody. Can't wait to see it.
Wolfie, what you thinking?
This game right now is going to be one of our highlight matches of the entire season, something we're going to continue to look back on and grab highlights from as we continue on. So I think this is going to be a match we're all going to remember and really set the tone for season 1.
Our feature match last week between Circuitry Gaming and Short Circuit Gaming was a banger. It was only 5 games, but it was still a tight series from start to finish. This one, I have a feeling will be even closer. That my prediction definitely is not influencing whatsoever. I cannot wait to watch this series as a neutral spectator. It is going to be a banger. So all 24 of you watching right now better stick around, because in 10 minutes, Galgan and Whoopsie are going to be bringing you one heck of a match. Don't go anywhere. Melon Patch League, sponsored by Prestige Esports, is coming right back.
I don't wanna see you. I don't wanna hear you tonight. I don't wanna fight you. You don't wanna know if I feel alright.
I know the air I'm breathing, it's no good for my lungs. I do this every season, I hate when summer comes. I fall into a trap that I made by myself. Oh, and I always do the wrong thing. I'm unstable and I'm unsteady, I've lost a million times already, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not able to.
Welcome back, everybody. Week 2 action in the Melon Patch League, and we are here in Group D for the feature matchup between Prestige Esports and Untamed Esports. The Goliaths have been sleeping during the first week. They've been woken up by this David in Untamed, trying to take down the heavy favorites in this entire event. My name is Galgan, alongside me, Whoops You, and we are getting ready to bring you this amazing series. How you doing, Whoops?
Doing good. I'm super excited for this matchup. I think everybody's excited for this matchup. It's been circled on everyone's calendar since essentially the roster and the groups have been announced. You know, Prestige kind of didn't have their week 1 premiere match, so this is their first matchup in the MPL. So we get to see this Prestige team, you know, this day 3 RLCS contender team right here today on Melon Patch.
And it's crazy too, because we talk about every single series and every single game mattering, but there is so much on the line for these two teams specifically.
Yeah.
For Prestige, there's a lot of expectations. A lot of people's favorite is Prestige, want to perform well and have a good showing here in group stage. And for Untamed, if there's any opportunity to take down the Titans, it's right here and right now, especially given the fact that Empire won their week 2 series. So the results are going to be even tighter if Untamed can't win this one.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much like you just hit the nail on the head right there. Prestige kind of coming into this one, you know, they're a huge sponsor of Melon Patch League itself, so they kind of want to come out here. They want to show why they're that sponsor and, you know, kind of prove to everybody that they deserve to be here and that they're the best team to be here as well. But Untamed, like you said, they come knocking on the door. They want to take out the top dogs. They believe that they can take out the top dogs as well. And trust me, it's going to be a very, very good matchup, especially on paper, because Untamed, we cannot sleep on these guys. They just 4-0'd first week against Empire Esports. Essentially, you know, just coming out here with a very, very solid squad with Buffy, G-Man, and Seven. Seven can take over at any given moment. Buffy not a sleeper either, and you can't count out G-Man whatsoever, but got to take on the tough Prestige team, Jay, Diaz, and Seiya. And like they talked about in the pre-games or in the talk show, essentially, some people were talking that this Prestige team might be in a little bit of a slump here, but we're going to go ahead and see, Galgan, if they're in a slump or not.
Yeah, this will be the perfect test for whether or not they're really feeling it. This single best of 7 here have to perform. They're coming fresh off scrims as well, according to reports here. So their hands are warm.
Yeah.
They've been driving around for a little while. They should feel prepared for this one. But my goodness, it's going to be a fantastic match. Really looking forward to it. Again, you talk about these bubble teams. They talked about it on the desk too. The results, especially compared to RLCS qualifications and how far these teams get Prestige, just that one step ahead. It was in the previous week when I was covering the Untamed and Empire series where we talked about Untamed being that one little step ahead. So it could mean the difference here when these teams are able to show up to the series that matter. Question is, Untamed, certainly not a squad that we can sleep on. Do we think that Prestige is going to think this is a cakewalk, or will they recognize Untamed's power?
No, I don't think so. Especially, like I said, Prestige came into this one. They missed their first week match, so they want to come in and take this one super serious. And essentially, if they've been keeping their eye on this league, because they're involved with it, like I talked about beforehand, then essentially they want to come into this one and prove, and they want to take every match really serious, especially coming into this one as their debut match in the Melon Patch League. And we talked about how Prestige has made day 3 for RLCS. I had the privilege of casting that team scrim for Prestige, that day 3 with Bax Cast. Shout out to Bax, by the way. But it was awesome. It was cool to see this Prestige team take on the likes of Nefarious, take on the likes of Kansas City Pioneers, take on E United, for example. And Torrent, the first matchup that they were against, they lost both of those series, Torrent and E United 0-3, but they bounced back, stayed alive in that Swiss bracket essentially, and won the next 2 games and lost the final one against Oxygen, who just got 3rd place in this last matchup.
Yeah, and especially even if you're losing those matches in day 3 closed qualifiers, you got it right in saying that going up against that strong competition, it's only going to teach you more and more about how your team can evolve. And it's something that's great for these bubble scene teams to keep experiencing, playing against those teams that are just 1 or 2 steps higher, really trying to play up that level and get closer and closer to that solid top 16 positioning and further beyond. Because even now, like you said, in the winter split, we're seeing teams like Oxygen who are coming from, being around that top 24, that bubble area, and now pushing their way into top 8 of North America. It's possible for any of these teams, but this is where it starts. The drive to win series like this against your similar competition and get yourself that much farther ahead.
And that's just what Melon Patch League provides. It provides all these bubble scene teams in NA to kind of come together and, have these live matches here for the fans, for the spectators. And just essentially, if you couldn't get a hold of that captain or that team, this is what Melon Patch provides, is these high octane scrims against great competition. And this is one of the premier matches right here. This is icing on the cake, what Melon Patch can provide for here and the future.
So let's talk specifically about this match as we get the teams loaded up here. I want to think about predictions, okay? Because we had a 75-25 split on the desk. We had a 75-25 split in the polls on social media and whatnot. The people favoring Prestige here. I'm curious what you're thinking about this one. I mean, we talked obviously in pre-show about what we like about these two teams, but how do you think this one plays out realistically?
I mean, I'm a lot of bit biased, like I said, because I have casted for Prestige before in the past. I do work with them continuously, and typically I kind of give away who I am rooting for in the series by changing my LED light colors in my room. So if you can't tell, they're a little bit orangish looking on stream, but they're yellow in my room, okay? I'm going to lean more towards Prestige here, just because of the fact that I'm more familiar with this team. I've casted for them beforehand. I'm familiar with Jay, Diaz, and Seiya, and basically I'm not necessarily unfamiliar with Untamed, but I haven't had the privilege of casting for them directly. I've seen them in bubble scene tournaments. I've seen them in other different tournaments and things like that. So I know who the team is. I know how good they are. I just have never seen them play physically with my own eyes.
Yeah, and I think that's really nice because we kind of balance things out here. I think I'm on the opposite side of things. I haven't really had that personal experience with Prestige just yet, although I will say Seven specifically back on the journey with Jolly Roger was one of the players who really brought me on with that org to cast a couple times. I got to see the potential that Seven has, and obviously during week 1 in their matchup against Empire, I was completely blown away. Not only Seven, who the desk did say was the week 1 MVP for the MPL, but G-Man and Buffy as well, just being fantastic players. They have a lot of potential. The sky is the limit, and again, you know, there's only so many times we can make this point, but if Untamed wants to make a statement in the MPL, this is the perfect opportunity to do so.
100% coming out here, taking out the top dog. You know, somebody like Prestige Esports, you want to come out here and, like I said, we talked about beforehand, establish that dominance. I can't really tell you which way to lean. Like, we're both split. Pretty much, I would say everybody is split on the pre-talk show, except for, you know, BetBit kind of, you know, going out there, going for Untamed, and everybody else, you know, like the 75-25 split, like the Twitter poll, like you mentioned, everybody's in favor of Prestige here. But personally, it's a 50-50 split. That's just everyone here in Melon Patch. It depends on who shows up, who wants to play, who's going to play better, and essentially who's going to kind of come out here and change up their gameplay during the matches and during the series, and kind of have the counterattacks on offense and defense and the rotations and everything like that. So I think we do have word that this match might be delayed just a tad bit. Prestige is inside of a different scrim right now. So I mean, we could talk to our pretty much, you know, the cows come home essentially, Gaugen. Sorry for the failed reference there. But at the same time, I really am excited about this match. I want to get underway. I know the fans are excited for this match as well.
Yeah, I know they're very excited, and you said it right there. We did get notification that Prestige, you know, they're probably in some 20-minute overtime at this point. That's why they're not here. You talk about who shows up, and they just gotta wrap up that last game shortly. So we're just gonna wait for confirmation from Prestige here before we get this match started. But we're gonna go to a short break while we wait for that. And don't worry, you won't miss any of the action. We'll be right back as soon as Game 1 is getting underway. We'll see you soon.
Don't you dare say that I wanted everything to fall apart when it's hard to me. 'Cause my only crime was hoping there is something more than this loneliness I feel. But no one makes me feel less alive. We're fighting fire. The way you push my buttons just right. We're fighting fire. When two voices of nature collide. We're fighting fire. Can't help but feel the temperature rise. We're fighting fire with fire. Maybe if we took a moment long enough to realize how alike we are, that not everything is broken. 'Cause you know me better than anyone by far. But no one makes me feel less alive. We're fighting fire. The way you push my buttons just right. We're fighting fire. When two voices of nature collide. We're fighting fire. Can't help but feel the temperature rise. Fighting fire with fire.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Brief break is over. I hope you're comfortable where you are. Got your drinks, snacks, everything. The popcorn is ready. This is going to be a show that you do not want to miss. Again, my name Galgan. Alongside me, whoops you. We're bringing you Game 1, Prestige versus Untamed. This is a top-tier matchup in Group D. Let's just get it underway, shall we?
Yeah, finally, all these teams have entered the same lobby, and it's about time, you know, because we're all on the edge of our seats here, and we need to see this one take place. And we're starting off early at 7. G-Man actually got to pick up a demolition on Seiya. So starting off with some fireworks early, Galgan, a little bit of demolition gameplay.
Woo, and a double flip reset attempt as well. We know these players are going to bring the heat, and this is going to be such a highly watched series because there's so many high-interest players here that you want to see a performance from. Obviously, 7, sort of the man of the hour here on Untamed. It's G-Man, though, with the ice early on, 26 seconds.
26 seconds is all it took for the first score. I thought for sure it was going to be like 2 minutes, but G-Man just finds a window of opportunity right here and takes advantage of it fully, putting on Untamed Esports up 1-0.
Yeah, and a good start here for Untamed. Like to see it from G-Man as well. One of the players who, in that series against Empire, was putting away a lot of solid shots. Actually sent the last one home that got Untamed that 4-0 win in that series. So plenty of efficiency to be had here. Jay is racing off of this wall. Double is potentially there, but sends it wide into the far post. Buffy trying to go back the other way. I mean, these teams are just going back and forth. It's opportunity after opportunity, but Diaz going to take the tying goal.
Very, very close right here for Jay to, you know, almost utilize that and get a double touch early on. And then look at the bump right there in front of the orange box. Seiya just clearing out 7 to open up that window of opportunity right there for Diaz to take full advantage of that one and tie this ball game right back up 1-1. So, yeah, Galgan, we're starting off early with a couple of early goals and a little bit of sloppy gameplay from both sides, in my personal opinion. I know we kind of hyped up both sides quite a bit as being at the professional level, but, you know, I feel like right now it's kind of chaotic.
No, I agree with you. Both of the goals have been scored off of some scrappy cleanups on the second touch, so the ball just sort of gets down to the box. Nobody really able to clear it with too much efficiency, and it finds its way in. Nice infield pass attempt on the slow touch there. Saya will take over at the sidewall, trying to push this one as they try to get some more solid offensive pressure here for an extended period of time. Prestige doing a really good job with possession control as well, just trying to keep it as close to each other as possible and make sure that their touches find each other. What a centering pass as well. But certainly something that Untamed can do well is have solid defensive positioning at the top of their box. Make sure that these opportunities don't become too dangerous. Take them away. Jay, though, trying to snake his way in. Can't find the shot, but Prestige just unrelenting right now.
Yeah, unrelenting amounts of pressure, essentially. Nothing really came out of it so far, so hats off to Untamed Esports for, you know, not buckling under pressure. And as I almost say that, Caster Curse, am I right? Jay's going to score this one and put Prestige up 2-1.
You know it's always going to be a good series when the Caster Curses start flowing here, but it's just a great heads-up play from Jay. Saya as well is there before any other defenders in sight, so Prestige is going to get out to the lead here. We'll see if we continue this trading mentality here, or if Prestige can really start to open things up with the pressure that they've created.
Yeah, I was going to say, before that goal was scored, essentially, you know, there was nothing really generated so far from Prestige, and, you know, hats off to Untamed for, you know, playing some solid defense there and escaping, and tons of missed opportunities right there for Prestige. But you see right now, Untamed knocking on the door, trying to get something going here and tie this ball game right back up. Here comes G-Man off the right-hand side. It's going to be saved by Seiya as well. So you see Untamed Esports, they have the capabilities to kind of take over and get control as well, but I really feel like Prestige is just playing at such a faster pace, Gaugen.
Yeah, and the faster pace comes with the passes. Speaking of, Buffy gonna get blocked. The follow-up shot is saved from Jay. Oh my goodness, that had to be a goal. Surely wasn't. Wow.
Any other team, that is a goal, but two back-to-back saves from two separate people, that just shows you the caliber of defense that Untamed Esports is playing against right now, and that is Prestige, ladies and gentlemen.
My goodness, one of the strongest opportunities, but then as we say it, a rather slow shot here from G-Man. Yep, Caster Curse again, and we're all tied at 2.
We have all the power, Gaugen. We have the power. If you guys are not aware of this, then yes, we are the casters, and we control what is said. We have the script. But this ball game's tied right back up 2-2 with 1 minute and 55 seconds. So this is only game number 1.
Yeah, and I'm actually taking a look at the script right now. I think the next goal is something to the tune of a J double tap, so we'll see if that comes out. Okay, well, no, I'm just going to stop talking. I'm sorry. Listen, Prestige, if you're listening, I didn't do that on purpose, all right? Untamed with the lead here, 1:44 to go.
No, you see, you're ahead. That was page 3. We're on page 1. I don't know. You flip forward, okay?
Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake.
That's okay. I'll let it slide this time, but... Here we go. Breaks are really crucial. I love to talk about, you know, kickoffs, essentially, in all my casting experience. I love to talk about it because they're just so crucial. It gets things going on the offensive side and the defensive side. I feel like I'm just beating a drum at this point every single time I cast. Look at this infield shot right here from Seiya, almost connecting with Jay there early on. And Untamed is going to go up by 2 goals, Gaugen.
Yeah, this is very interesting. A lot of the goals have been scored on some fairly open nets, so these teams getting a little overzealous on the offensive push. I mean, they're moving the ball quickly, they're passing. It's everything that you love to see, but as soon as one of those passes goes haywire and a defender picks it up, you've instantly got to backpedal when all your momentum might be going towards the offensive push. Diaz, though, with a very strong touch here. That is a crucial backboard clear again from G-Man, just being so efficient any single position on the pitch here. Untamed still threatening with that 2-goal lead as we near the final 60.
Yeah, still a lot of time right now for Prestige to kind of start to come back, but they have to start doing it a little bit fast because they're approaching that 1 minute mark like you talked about, so the clock is definitely working against them. And at this point, if you're Untamed Esports, I'll be comfortable with a 2-goal lead, essentially. I wouldn't try to attack anything else on at this point in time, but, you know, against this very tough Prestige team, I guess you want to have that exclamation point, you know, and kind of come out here strong in this game number 1.
This is definitely one of those series where a lot of teams will try to make that statement and mentally wear down their opponents, but I don't think you can get too overconfident here against Prestige and allow them that window towards an open net on the other side. But as we near the final 30 here, Untamed, you know, they are holding on. You see G-Man rotate back around here. Doesn't find it, but Buffy is in a good position to clear it away and buy even more time. Every time this ball finds its way deep into the Prestige zone, it's more and more time that they need to move quickly and push this down the other way. Jay with a nice touch high up off the ceiling. Buffy trailing on that one to get a touch away to the corner. Diaz doubles up, but the shot doesn't come through. That high pop might have just done it, and 7 doing good work here to keep away from the net. It is going to be Untamed walking away with game number 1 here as the time expires.
Yeah, not only walking away with game number 1, but winning it by 2 goals too, and 2, I would say, sloppy goals being played on the defensive end by Prestige Esports. But regardless, there's 2 goals indeed for Untamed Esports, and they're gonna be up quickly, like you talked about in this series, 1-0. But this is a best of 7. Okay, this is a best of 7. Nothing to really get too crazy just yet. And, you don't have to kind of start calling the fire department just yet to put out the fires for Prestige Esports. But sometimes maybe it takes a couple of games to kind of get used to who you're playing against.
I have to agree with you there. And something I have to touch on, obviously the people voting on Twitter and whatnot didn't really have a say in the series length, but our analysts on the desk, none of them picked this series to end in a sweep, and I think deservedly so. Prestige not out of this by any extent. The defense needs cleaning up on both ends. I feel like they just pushed a little too far forward past the middle of the field, and when you're talking about Prestige and Untamed, two squads that are instantly going to punish you if you give them that open look, especially G-Man off that first game. Very efficient on offense, sort of a sleeper pick here. I mean, everybody knows G-Man, but as soon as they hear Untamed, they want to gravitate towards 7 and what he's able to do. G-Man is just as equal a threat here. As we get underway, though, Prestige trying to ramp up this offensive pressure once more. What a pass and a shot. It's Jay for the first.
15 seconds is all this one, so Saya almost putting this one in early as well, but it's going to go off the backboard. Diaz with a nice infield pass right there to Jay. Just a slight window of opportunity. Prestige capitalizing early, but like you just talked about, Gaugen, the only person I really feel like they kind of, everybody, all the casters essentially beforehand in the talk show at the desk, they all talked about the series score. Scully saying 4-1 in favor of Prestige, Wolfie in 4-2 in favor of Prestige, Volts 4-2 in favor of Prestige, and then Bepik obviously being the oddball out here, taking Untamed in the best of 7. I didn't really catch what he kind of said in that one, but I would say this: Volts did say that Untamed Esports is going to come into this one and take game number 1 away from Prestige.
Yeah, but this opportunity right here means Untamed looking to take 2 in a row if they can. I mean, they've equalized. It's still very early on. We're 36 seconds in, but Buffy just getting free real estate at the bottom of the box. Again, it's Prestige having these little bit of defensive woes. Not to harp on the fact that, it was talked about pregame, Prestige could be feeling a little bit of a slump, and they've looked really solid on their passing game. But they've got to find these passes in the defensive zone, too. It's not enough to allow one defender to rely on them solely for the clear out, because Untamed is going to meet that challenge early. You've got to make sure that you're connecting as soon as you're trying to exit the zone here to give yourself the best look at an offensive chance. But as we're 1 minute in here, we're back to this neutral game situation we saw earlier. Opportunities for Prestige just sent back and forth to the opposite corners, though, and Untamed will hold on.
Hold it on just slightly. You see Prestige with tons of pressure so far. Now G-Man's going to try to bring this one upfield, generate some pressure himself, but Diaz quickly pops that one back towards the orange side of the field. So Prestige might walk away with another goal here in this transition. I'm not too sure what that offense was from Saya off the ceiling. Here comes Jay now trying to get the double touch dunk onto some of the members there from Untamed Esports, but it looks like both teams are kind of playing really, really passive as far as when they go on defense, and they're hunting for that far clear and the kind of transitional goal here.
Yeah, it's really interesting. They are playing this sort of dump and chase. That's a nice heads-up pass, though, out to 7 at the middle, but a big clear from Diaz, and beautifully done to get it back going the other way. But yeah, this whole dump and chase method of sending one player to get a big clear and then following up the opportunity on that previous sequence, Prestige had a really good look because the challenge wasn't met by Untamed deep in the zone, but that awkward rotation, like you said, Say going up on the sidewall and ceiling, and Jay just sort of cutting it back out towards the sidewall. Didn't really do a whole lot of wonders there. Here's Diaz, though, to the back wall. J1-2-1 is there. The shot placement, and Prestige is on top again.
Yeah, that's just good Rocket League right there. Heads up play from Jay to Diaz and right back to Jay on the counter. And I was going to say, there's just the time of possession has been in favor of Prestige for so long that something had to end up cracking right there for Untamed Esports defensively.
Yeah, Untamed seem to be preying on a mistake in Prestige's possession, but when their possession is solid, they've got it going back and forth very quickly. There's not a whole lot of time, but the ball spins away from one blue card to the next. So Prestige with a good look here as we cross the halfway point of game number 2, looking to even up this series very quickly. Buffy can't get there in the way of all 3 defenders. Demo and a G-Man as well, so short-handed opportunity here on defense for Untamed. It's 7 jumping up early. Buffy trying to connect, but doesn't find it. Jay with a nice pop. Saya now to the side wall, out of the corner, centering pass, but this defense holding strong yet again for Untamed. Cycling through pretty well here, positioning pretty aggressively past that near post, but Prestige still looking for that way in. It's now Jay down the middle of the field trying to bump everybody off and open the lane for Diaz, but it doesn't come through.
just the sheer amount of mind games that just played out right there was ridiculous. You know, the fakes time after time again. I think that was Jay and Diaz both faking out inside the orange box. Here we have Seiya now going for the flip reset pass, maybe off the back wall. It's going to be intercepted by G-Man, though. So a little bit of highlight play right there, going for the highlight materials right there for Prestige Esports. But yeah, I was going to say, essentially Prestige just knocking on the door just relentlessly time and time again. The time of possession, I would say, is probably upwards of 3 minutes on the orange side of the field. We haven't seen too much offense being generated so far from Untamed Esports, but like you talked about beforehand, we did see a little bit of a triple commitment issue on the defensive side of things. So I'm curious to see how Untamed Esports is going to kind of respond in the rest of this match and in the series as well.
It's tough, though, too, because every time Prestige gets on offense, I feel like, you know, they're trying to knock on the door, but the door's unlocked. They could most oftentimes just walk right on in. There's also a doorbell there that they can't quite find just yet, and hopefully they do eventually. But, like, it's right there for Prestige. Untamed just look a little panicked in defense, especially deep in the zone. Once they get the clear, they get their stature about them, they get their feet back under them, their wheels back under them. But this opportunity is just going to get tapped home by Jay. Possible insurance goal with 39 to go.
Yeah, like you said, the door is wide open. It's there. I really feel like at this point in time, Prestige might be, I'm not going to say meaning by any means, but I mean, they're not really being super aggressive, and they're playing those mind games. They're faking some of these shots, some of these angles, and like we just seen inside the orange box, you've seen Jay and Diaz, both of them just kind of passively touching the ball, working for that 50-50. So at the same time, it's high-tier gameplay. You know, they're trying to have Untamed Esports kind of make a mistake so they can kind of capitalize on it.
And high-tier defense here, too, as Jay takes this one away from Buffy. Opportunities for Untamed are not finding their way into the box. As I say, though, a beautiful demo. Unfortunately, 7 not quite in the way in time off the sidewall. 15 seconds to go. They need a big clear here. Buffy tries to get it off the ceiling, and Jay was on the read the whole way out to Seiya. What a goal to seal it in game 2.
I see that one being played out the whole entire time. That was such a beautiful touch right here from Jay. Seiya was just cherry picking, waiting for this one. And Prestige Esports just dominating in this game number 2, up by 3 goals with only 8 seconds left now.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, too, because you know everybody from Untamed had to rotate up far to try and get that goal off of Buffy's touch. Unfortunately, it hits the ceiling, and that's probably one of the easiest balls for Jay to read because he knows exactly what angle that's coming down on. Regardless, it's a 3-goal difference here for Prestige. They even up the series really early here, and I definitely feel like now we know we're going the distance.
Oh, for sure. And like I talked about beforehand, Volts was the only person that said Untamed was going to come out here, win this game number 1, essentially, get popped or pop Prestige right there in the mouth. Was his words, not mine. Don't kill the messenger, okay? So he said that Prestige was essentially going to pop them, or Untamed was going to pop Prestige in the mouth. Prestige was going to wake up and essentially take these next couple of games. Untamed might fight back, but run out of steam in game 6. So I think he said 4-2 in favor of Prestige. But I love watching this team, Gauguin. I love watching them play. You see why. You've seen Seiya with that cherry pick goal there. Makes it look easy, but it's so good.
Yeah, and talk about waking up here, especially with that cherry pick goal that you mentioned. That cherry pick was assisted by Jay, who not only had that, but the other 3 goals all to his name, the hat trick there. So that's a beautiful way to respond to 7 G-Men and Buffy, who are able to generate this solid offensive pressure, these second shot opportunities that Prestige wasn't finding out of their own zone in the first game. So really solid response. Love what I saw from Prestige in that game. We head to this one with an even series at 1 apiece. DFH Stadium to decide who gets another series lead.
Not too sure, but according to Volts, I'm going to stick with him from here on out. He thinks that Prestige is going to take this one as well. And based upon what we've seen, though, in the second game, number 2, Prestige did look like the better team overall. I'm not taking anything away from Untamed by any means, but like we said, the mind games were in full effect. This one's going to go across early. Oh, almost saved by Seiya at the last second, but 7 is going to get credit for it in 20 seconds this time, Gauguin. We're seeing some pretty fast goals in these games.
Oh my goodness, the bump is there, and then you talk about mind games. Both of those players just thought that something was coming in the way of contact on that ball, and nothing. Rolls along the goal line, probably the slowest goal you're going to see all series, but Untamed are very happy to get that early lead. Diaz, though, coming back quickly here to the backboard. The double is down, but Jay's shot not through.
The possession right here. Seiya quickly wins that one, and the turnaround as well. As you see Seiya trying to go for that one, but Diaz is going to get credit for this one and score and put Prestige right back in this game. 1-1 now, Gauguin, and man, this is just ridiculous amount of offense being generated from both teams.
And even for a stretch out as Untamed look, G-Man nearly able to come across the entire net for that squishy save, unable to see it through. It was G-Man who initially sent that touch off of the back of his own car, which led to the shot coming through. So tie game, you know, back to square one here. Both these teams still looking to eliminate some of the more awkward mistakes. I mean, we talk about misses, fakes, and mind games and whatnot. When you get to a high enough level and you expect these hits to come out from players on the pitch, you have to be expecting the unexpected here. And Buffy's going to try and take this one on a center out to G-Man. Can't get it onto the crossbar, and 7 forced to retreat.
This is such a different Prestige team that I casted on that day number 3 run. I tell you that much. They're doing so much more on offense and on defense, and they're having so much more fun, it looks like, as well. You know, and that's what Rocket League is about. It's about fun, essentially. You know, you have to kind of have a little bit of fun and put a little bit of flair, my apologies, inside your gameplay, as Jay's going to score this one and put Prestige up 2-1. But yeah, they're doing a bunch of crazy crosses and stuff that you kind of don't see traditionally in standard Rocket League, Algan.
Yeah, and that unconventional offense here from Prestige is a perfect test for the Untamed defense. Again, they look rather stretched out here. They're trying to figure things out. They've got time. It's 1-1 in a best of 7, so they certainly can stand to drop this game if they need to. But if your defense is still struggling to figure things out, it can be hard to focus everything on offense, because you immediately know that you need just that bit more extra time to get back on defense and guard anything that Prestige throws at your net. So it's just that added layer of difficulty here for Untamed to get back into this one, as the momentum is slowly swinging in the way of Prestige. They're finding the woodwork on so many of these shots. It's unrelenting pressure, but it's not in just yet.
Yeah, it's just shot after shot after shot. Somebody please call, who was that, Little John with the song Shots, Shots, Shots. It's just crazy to see just one after the other just being generated from something out of nothing. And it's just, you know, Prestige Esports, like I said, this is such a different team that I've seen. Just the pressure, but nothing's crossing so far. So they're having a little bit of accuracy issues, just a tad bit, or you know, Untamed Esports, they're just not used to Untamed Esports being backed up so far into the net with some of these other high caliber teams that they might be scrimming.
Yeah, you talk about accuracy issues. That one is pretty accurate towards the bottom corner there. That'll find its way in. I mean, speak of it. But yeah, I mean, again, you know, the question of accuracy issues here, you also have to bring up the fact that Untamed are letting these opportunities hit the post and hit the crossbar where they should be trying to get the clears. I mean, obviously, they can look to try and get those reads off the bounce and get a little bit more added momentum out of the zone. But the fact that Prestige is constantly getting these looks close to on target really says something about their power to just put shot after shot on this defense here as we cross the halfway point, and Prestige holds on to that 2-goal lead.
Well, that's what you need to do. You need to kind of just generate some threatening shots towards net to back up that defense, and so they respect the long game, like Jay showed us right there, and shut me up pretty quick. But essentially kind of put some pressure on the net and have the defense, you know, kind of back up, so that the best offense essentially comes from that defense making a mistake, being boost starved, and generating some of these. Look at Saya now off the left-hand side, trying to pass this to Diaz. Oh my goodness, they almost connect, but G-Man snuck that one through and got the save, but it's not going to matter because Jay's going to score this one, and Prestige is up 4-1 now.
Jay just gets all the time in the world to finish this one off after 4 people in the lobby go for that ball, but my goodness, that just looks like a freestyling competition at that point with Saya and Diaz falling from the ceiling. What an effort there.
I'm telling you, this Prestige team is having fun right now, and it's good to see. But they're just playing at such a different level. And it's just great to kind of see this, Galgan. This is a different team that I'm used to seeing, essentially. And look at them. They're just having so much fun on the offensive side of things that Untamed Esports hasn't really had a chance to do anything on the defensive side of things. I think only a couple of shots have been landing through or have went through at this point. I think, yeah, only 5 shots have been generated, and they all been saved so far, except for that one, obviously, because they have 1 goal. Don't judge me.
Yeah, but a shot like this coming back the other way. Oh, what a touchdown to Jay. My goodness, it's a masterclass, but what a save from Buffy as well. Solid opportunity going back the other way, and G-Man is going to get Untamed within 2. Good answer here.
Yeah, finally break through that tough defense. And it's going to be off of a almost like a 50-50 pinch off the left-hand side at midfield. So G-Man doing a great job reading that one. And they put Untamed Esports down by 2 now with only 1:13 left. So Untamed Esports, they do have the capability to kind of score those 2 goals to essentially come back in this game and tie this one up to head to overtime. But, I mean, do you think that there's enough time on the clock, Alvin?
Well, with this walk down the middle of the field, it's going to be a little bit harder with 60 seconds to go as Prestige gets up by 3. But I was going to say, for Untamed specifically, it's nice to see them enter the offensive zone with a little bit of resources behind them. We talk about the pressure that Prestige is able to apply in Untamed's defensive zone, and that obviously weights the boost that they could get from their back corners and the midfield if they can even be able to stretch out there. But by the time that one person from Untamed gets up towards the middle of the field for 100 boost, someone's putting a shot on the orange net. G-Man, though, with an early flick here, Buffy can't get the touch, and that'll be open for a clear. So again, every single opportunity here in the past few games for Untamed has been very quickly turned away if it hasn't immediately found the back of the net. And Prestige, that is certainly one way to win a series here. They look to take the lead as this one is about to close.
Yeah, final 30 seconds on the board. This one's going to be a little bit of a cherry-pick goal right here from G-Man, who we don't say stole, we say secured around these parts. It's just you see this one, Buffy had this one dead to rights, and G-Man just wanted to pat the stats just a tad bit, you know, and secure that goal for Untamed Esports. But 5-3, 30 seconds remaining. It's not impossible, but you have to score fast here.
Exactly, and it starts with the ball in the right direction, but Jay's going to get it out of the corner. Beats 1, now beats 7 for 2. What a perfectly executed challenge as well. Buffy a little slow, but will get it out towards Diaz, who now gets it to the top of the box. Buffy plays to the side. Say is looking for the challenge. Buffy gets bumped off. That's an awkward ball here that 7 could pick up. Rips a shot towards the bottom corner and gets a challenge. Buffy sends it back. Nice high pump. G-Man looking for a shot as well to the crossbar. Buffy is there. 2 defenders, though, commit for Prestige to lock it away. They do an excellent job of shutting that one down, and it's Prestige up 2-1.
Wow, that was such a crazy moment there towards the end. I thought that one was going to go through for 7, but quickly saved away. And unfortunate right there for Untamed Esports, but Prestige up in the series now, more importantly, 2-1. Galgan, do they have what it takes to kind of tie this series back up from what you've seen so far?
It's really tough because coming into this series, we knew what Untamed liked to play like. We knew what 7 was capable of. G-Man, Buffy as well, that duo that can find each other very well. It feels like they're being forced out of their regular play style right now. They're not being allowed to play the Rocket League that they want to. And obviously, we know going into these series, it's not enough just to play good Rocket League. You've got to play Rocket League that actively counters your opponents. And that's exactly what Prestige is doing. They are imposing their will on the pitch right now and not allowing Untamed to get the opportunities that they are so prominent with.
Yeah, I was 100% agree with you on that one, Galgan, because like I said, this is a whole different Prestige team and they're having so much fun. I think at game number 2, I've seen at one point in time, I want to say it was Diaz, save this one off to the right-hand side, and then quickly on the right wall was Seiya, who clears it back towards the left side. Like, I've never seen that in Rocket League at a high level tier game where essentially one player clears it one way and the other player just quickly clears it the other way. So it's kind of like you can't even have a setup like this one right here. Seiya goes on the board first for Prestige.
What in the world is this touch? Is there has to be a touch there from Diaz. There's no way the ball gets that sort of momentum off of the sidewall. I am in awe about how little of the Octane hitbox that ball clipped. My goodness, what a pass.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about, just some of these tough angles, these tough reads. And look at the positioning right here from Diaz on the side wall. They are just in sync and just flowing very, very well. Seiya knew exactly where his teammate was. And like I said, whoever said Prestige Esports was in a slump, I don't think that they were watching the right team.
Yeah, certainly not. And I can confirm Diaz is credited with an assist for that first goal. So I honestly kind of want to watch that one back and see just how little that caught. But it just goes to show you the creative opportunities here. Seiya's going to force this one, and trying to bump in the net there is Diaz. Now it's on Jay to play a little bit of damage control, but unable to fulfill it. 7 almost sent it right into the crossbar, but it's in for the tying goal.
Yeah, I think Diaz got a little bit too aggressive there, you know, obviously trying to be the third man back, and Jay was just trying to stall enough time for his teammates to kind of rotate back, and Buffy took full-on advantage of that one as he dunked Jay for the assist to 7 to tie this ball game right back up. And you know, you like to see the offense being generated here for Untamed Esports. I just want to know if they can actually, you know, generate some more, because Prestige has pretty much been dominant as far as time and possession goes on the offensive side of the field with the ball.
Yeah, it's also really tough for Untamed because I would say that the 3 of their past goals have been on opportunities where 2 Prestige members have been committed way too far forward in the offensive zone. So when we see Untamed able to get the same offensive chances in a neutral game situation, 3-on-3, even if they're able to set up a demo in Prestige's defensive zone, that's when we know that Untamed are getting a little bit more of a foothold in this series. But right now they're relying on the mistakes from Prestige to come out before they're able to get these solid chances. If it's a strong 3 Prestige trying to make the defensive hold, 9 times out of 10 so far, they've taken it away.
I'm not sure if anybody just caught that on the field, but you've seen the mind games being played as well still. I want to say that was Diaz, or maybe it was Jay. Regardless, somebody went for a fake there at about 3/4 of the way on the orange side of the field. And then I think it was Jay who was kind of bumping people inside the box. So Prestige has changed up their gameplay just a tad bit. They're being a little bit more bump heavy on the back end of the pretty much sure goalie that tries to stop some of those quick crossing plays going on. So like I said, this Prestige team is clicking on all cylinders. They're just missing a couple of opportunities. And if they get things going, Gaga, it's going to be trouble for Untamed Esports.
They're certainly working very well to do so, completely opening up this side of the field right now. And that's something that Prestige is executing perfectly too, is they've got these really strong concerted pushes on offense. A little bit of a double up there from Diaz and Saya to get this one going, but they take up half of the field very, very quickly here from Untamed and force them onto the other side, which can make the defensive stand that much more difficult. As we get closer, the 2 minutes remaining though, again, more and more pressure just building here. Jay to the back wall, stalling away from the clears as more Untamed players fall by the wayside, trying to make contact with this one. It's G-Man now. Nice pinch off the ceiling, wide of the net, but trying to jumpstart anything here as 7 finds a challenge to the back wall. High pop from Jay is not going to get picked up immediately. Buffy now to the sidewall, no second touch, and it's cleared over the top, and that's it for Untamed's push there.
Yeah, unfortunate missed opportunity right there because, you know, pretty much Prestige had them dead to rights. They were just boost starving them essentially. Look at the ball control right here for Diaz. He tries to get something going here for Prestige's offense to put them ahead. But if not, we're looking at a potential game 1 overtime. Look at Saya might sneak this one through 7 with the last second save. What a huge save right there for 7.
Oh, and a touch here. That was a little scary on the attempted block on the challenge. Nice outlet here to G-Man, who's a little too far back, so it will be on now Saya to the sidewall. Diaz racing with this one in the corner, beating 2. It's in front. Buffy, good effort to jump early for the save there. 60 to go. 7 touch off the ceiling, may find its way on target. Saya clears away. We're going back and forth very, very quickly here with plenty of counters, but the paramount issue here is getting the ball out of the defensive zone as soon as possible, especially with Prestige now barreling towards this one. It's Saya again, looking for a touch. G-Man gets the clear. 40 seconds to go. G-Man another touch on. Again, that game 4 overtime looming here, and it's certainly what Untamed will like to force if they can't take this in regulation. They do not want to go down 3-1 to Prestige. They've got about 30 seconds. This one finds its way to the crossbar down, and it's finished off by Jay.
I thought that one was going to be saved right there. I believe that was 7. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. Going for that squishy save, almost connecting with that one is just a sliver of a chance right there. He misses it, and Jay gets the double touch. Wow, what a showing right there for the defense and the offense. In a different dimension, I guarantee that one's saved by 7.
Indeed, and now G-Man threatening double there, hits the top corner and away. Buffy now going back with a little double, can't quite connect, is bumped off of it, and a big clear comes through. Less than 15 to go for Untamed. That 1-3 series deficit is looming here, and triple match point for Prestige if they can close things out. They've done it in the past few games, and it looks like they're about to do it here. 0 seconds, but Buffy has the ball, flicks it up, 7 shot on the floor, and it's in!
Wow, what a shot from 7, a man who we talked about in the pre-games who could possibly take over, but what an effort right there from Buffy to get that ball up. He knew he was losing control, and 7 ties this one up at the 0-second mark.
If there's anybody who's going to clutch up at a 0-second goal in this lobby, you've got to think that it's 7. But now here's G-Man with a pretty open look. Quick flip reset and gets it to fall. Untamed walk away with game 4.
How did this one go through? G-Man, he did have this one dead to rights, but Diaz just misread this one, misses the 50-50 challenge, and G-Man sneaks through with this one, and the series is tied up 2-2.
That is a crazy touch. So much happened during that game 4-2, and I feel like we were sitting here ready to write this one off. Prestige going up 3-1. The comeback for Untamed necessary? No. We've got a tie series after 4. I wouldn't have it any other way with these teams, but my goodness, Untamed. Way to give a little bit of a heart attack there.
Not only that, but stay alive in the last final seconds. You've seen the whole entire, I would say, flying V offense going towards the Prestige net, essentially. And hats off to Buffy setting that one up, like I said. But Seven drilling that one home, very, very close, taking over. We talked about how crucial, I love to bring it up, how crucial kickoffs are in Rocket League. You guys see it right there, why it is. Untamed take this one 3-2.
It's absolutely massive, the pressure that you can apply off of the kickoff. You know, sometimes teams they'll try to implore the fake kickoff, you know, try and go for a little Spanish kickoff, what have you, the variations that come in. But it is such a crucial moment in the game there. And my goodness, right off the drop as well, it's G-Man just getting the amazing touch off of that flip reset. It's what you love to see. You know these players are capable of so much, and the fact that they're pulling it off here in such a, you know, series with huge implications here just speaks to their skill.
100% agree with you on that one, Gaugen. And hats off to Untamed Esports. Like we talked about right before the match even started, are they capable of tying this series back up to stay alive? The answer is yes. It's a tie ball game, 2-2 now. Prestige has to come out and just stop kind of, you know, messing around just a tad bit and start showing why they are that RLCS Day 3 contender team, why they're RLCS contender team, I should say. My apologies.
Like that idea as well. This feels like a good point for a mental reset from both sides, because Prestige here, you know, the have fun meta has proven to be very strong at the highest levels of play, but for Untamed, you know, a couple of opportunities that have just fallen by the wayside. They haven't really found their footing on offense. Now is the chance to shift those tides here and really stick it to Prestige if they can try and apply some of that same constant pressure here. G-Man, nice back pass to Buffy to get this going. It's right under the ceiling. Double not quite there as Jay will get the clear. Backboard defense going to be pivotal for both of these teams, but a wide open look, and Diaz will get the first for Prestige in game 5.
What a great take right here from Diaz, but a crucial pass right here from Seiya, beating Seven in the middle of the field, the heart of the field. The rotation just too late back for G-Man and Buffy. Prestige go up within 1 minute of this game. And I really feel like you said, for how little offense, or how little time, I should say, for Untamed Esports, the time of possession with the ball, essentially they are generating so much offense with the little bit of time that they have on the offensive side of the field, Falcon.
Yeah, and there's going to be the tying goal right there. It all comes down to that, essentially. Untamed, you know, the crux for them of this series is to get consistent offensive pressure, because Prestige has been plagued by defensive woes. They've solved it piece by piece, but they've also done a good job of slowing down the shot production. Obviously, if Untamed can start to get more shots on target and even outshoot Prestige, they have a much better look at tying games, taking leads, and winning them before we get to overtime. But obviously that's on Untamed to produce more offensively. They're trying, though, here early off the drop, off of this 1-1 game, and this might be cleaned up. No, the pinch goes off of that bottom corner.
That was a very, very close one right there for Untamed. Unfortunately, it does not find its way to the back of the net. They had a chance at that one, too. They had a couple of chances in that transition. They still are hunting for this one right here. Here comes Seven off the back wall. Has a nice little pass. Jay's going to pop this one up, and Diaz is going to follow this one up. So good job for Prestige right here to kind of try to get out of this pressure, but they desperately need it clear here, Gaugen. And I would say that, you know, we aren't seeing the same Prestige team that we've seen so far. Look at the speed dash on the wall here. That was a great job by Seiya. But we aren't seeing the same Prestige team that we've seen in game number 1 and game number 2. They aren't looking like they're having as much fun as they lose this lead right now to 7. My apologies.
Yeah, it was a beautiful push down from Seiya, but again, you know, all of these resources go into that initial clear coming off of the backboard, and it's just picked up immediately by an Untamed player who's sitting at the top of the box, not using any boost, just waiting for the ball to fall right into his hands. Oh, nearly a mind game shot there, but not to be. But again, it's Prestige conceding those open looks in the backfield because they're pushing up a little too far without the resources to sustain it. G-Man will launch this one back. And Untamed now, again, we've got over half of the time remaining. Plenty can and will change about the current game state, but with the games being as close as they have been, especially in recent memory for this series, no, it's not something that Prestige can really feel too comfortable with. They're certainly going to get a little itchy coming up here soon against Untamed, trying to find that way in.
Yeah, I think Prestige needs to kind of go back to the drawing board, start going back to what happened in game number 1 and 2, and start trying to generate that ton of pressure that worked out for them so well. Now you can see that they're kind of missing their mark. Seiya kind of overshoots this one. It might be capitalized on, but G-Man shoots it too far, and that crossbar, that right side cross post, I should say, my apologies, working in favor of Prestige Esports, being that 4th man back for them, as this one could be a little bit of danger as well. Untamed Esports need to kind of clear this one out of the orange side of the field. And it looks like they're going to kind of do that right now, thanks to Buffy.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a lucky break there for Prestige, but, you know, it comes back here, Untamed trying their hardest to get this offensive pressure started back up again. They do look very much so more poised than they were in the early goings of this series. Again, even with the mistouch there, G-Man able to get some good control here. 7 challenges for it off of the sidewall. This one's falling right in front. Jay attempting a bump. The shot doesn't come through, though, as Diaz and Seiya cannot find the angle. Jay now goes back and picks it up off the sidewall, but it'll fall out to Seiya with plenty of time to corral it. It becomes very important what happens with this ball in this situation. It's Seiya with a big carry, and Diaz laces the shot under the crossbar.
What a great pass right here from Seiya. If you look at the bottom right of your screen, you see Diaz just lurking there, and I see this one just generating the whole entire time. Hats off team play right there for Team Prestige coming into this one, tying the ball game right back up. So good job. Essentially get that offense kick-started once again, but they cannot be content. They need to keep on putting this pressure on Untamed Esports, because I think Untamed is starting to find their groove as well. You see a double demolition coming out for on 7 and on Diaz.
Exactly, and if Untamed is starting to find their groove, then Prestige has to return to theirs, and that's exactly what happened on that previous goal as well. The tight infield passing, blue car to blue car. It's simple Rocket League, but it's effective. What a save here from 7 on the back foot, though. Sent back by Diaz to the top of the box. Jay wants it. Diaz is going to take it on the ground, but send it wide across the net again, though, as Buffy plays this off the backboard and able to get the clear. Now a challenge out. Seiya wins it. Jay is there as well, but G-Man finds it over the top of Diaz. This is a strong opportunity for Untamed off the ceiling. Now is 7. The shot goes down, and Seiya says no. G-Man off the wall here. 30 seconds to go. Sends it back in front, and Buffy's going to take the shot every day of the week.
What a great pass right here from G-Man off of the ceiling. We've seen him trying to go for one of those as well. I think it was a couple games ago in game number 2. That one didn't really connect because there's nobody there to connect with, but Buffy doing such a great job reading that one. And the team comms seem to be firing on all the cylinders right now for Untamed Esports. And I feel like it's because of that overtime game that we saw just a little bit ago, Galgan.
Indeed, but now it's Prestige's turn. Near 0 seconds, 15 to go, and Jay trying to find Diaz, but Diaz is way out of the picture. Now it's left to Buffy here to launch to the back wall and kill more time off the clock. 7 going for the challenge of a lifetime, but Diaz gets it out. Oh my, what a touch there. Seiya running interference in the goal line, getting G-Man way out of it. Diaz attempting to center this one, but Jay can't get the shot off on time. You love to see the bumps, but unfortunately it does not culminate in a goal. Instead, it's Untamed with the series lead.
Seiya was just having his way with G-Man, doing his job, essentially getting that goalie outside the box, leaving it open for his team to kind of do something there. But unfortunately, it falls at the 0 second mark, and Prestige Esports are in trouble. Untamed is on match point at this point, Galgan, and nobody but Mr. Bepic predicted this one to play out this way.
Indeed, this is getting into, I mean, obviously we know Bepic is a wizard when it comes to these predictions at this point, so anything short of Bepic being in the booth and caster cursing these teams himself, I mean, you have to imagine that it's a possibility here. Prestige have Neo Tokyo ahead of them to try and find a response here to Untamed, who have really started to heat up and expose some glaring weaknesses in Prestige's defensive handlings of possession here. But as we get underway in game 6, will we get another early look on target? Remains to be seen. Don't think so as we get a little closer to neutral. The Jay now racing with this one, overshoots the ball with too much boost used, and it'll fall to the corner. So looks like these teams calming down, at least for the moment, as Untamed are on match point.
Yeah, do or die situation right now for Prestige Esports. They need to win this one. Like you said, match point in favor of Untamed Esports. This one's a missed touch, or missed completely from Jay, trying to go for that second touch downward shot, trying to get Prestige on the board first. And I would like to say that whoever scores first is going to win this matchup, but I mean, it's just been pretty much anybody's ball game the whole entire time. And we talked about this. It depends on who wants to play, who shows up, and who's going to take over and adjust their gameplay essentially in the heat of the moment, Gauguin.
Exactly. We talked earlier on in the series about Prestige being allowed to play their own game and impose their will, but they're now the ones who are starting to have to make a couple of adjustments here to Untamed. A 7 now does all the work here, but no follow-up shot to be had from G-Man or Buffy. A beautiful effort to get that one going over a minute in, and now has Buffy in the middle of the field. Jay's playing towards the corner. The flick does not connect, and Diaz will clear away. So some scary looks here for Untamed, but again, Prestige doing a good job of controlling it outside of the zone. I will say, though, the ball is spending a lot of time away from the middle of the pitch for both of these teams. They're not really able to break into that area too often. Now 7 going to do that one-on-one with Jay, trying to play this one slow. The 360 does not connect.
Yeah, trying to add some style points onto that one. Playing a little bit of the mind games himself. You've seen Prestige playing the mind games the whole entire time, so why can't 7 have some fun? You know, he's a very skilled player. He's very capable of doing something like that and scoring as well. As this one might find its way through, and it does! Buffy puts Untamed Esports up 1-0.
And a beautiful start here for Untamed. Nice jump from Buffy as well, a player who we've seen coming into his own very, very well here as the series has developed. Again, we always know coming into these, that's going to be a full team effort. It's not enough for just that big name to absolutely pop off, especially in a matchup like this with two of the teams that we would consider the titans of Group D and the early front runners to go far here. You need everybody on their A game, and Buffy has really stepped up here in the later moments of the series to try and keep us away from Champions Field. But as we've got more than half and likely a tie game, no, it's a save from Buffy.
Yeah, we talk about how good 7 is, and I even said this last night when me and Wolfie were casting together. I talked about how good 7 is. I recognize G-Man from tournaments and stuff like that as well. And he said, well, what about Buffy? And I was like, what about Buffy? And he was like, you can't count him out. I was like, I'm not counting him out by any means. I just don't know exactly who he is. So, I mean, obviously, Untamed Esports know exactly who he is. Obviously, 7 and G-Man have enough confidence in this person to essentially do the right thing and be at the right place at the right time. Diaz is going to find the back of the net with this one. That's going to be tied up 1-1.
And good heads-up play here. A lot of Untamed pushed up very far, and again, it's Diaz finding those touches. The nose of the Octane is just a figment of the imagination for Diaz with the angles that he's been able to find so far. So he ties this one up with 2:15 to go, and Prestige, they're not out of this one just yet. They're certainly fighting as hard as they can.
Still anybody's ball game in my eyes. There's still plenty of time on the clock, approaching the 2-minute mark, and maybe might potentially see an overtime game, but I guarantee Prestige doesn't want to do that. It hasn't really favored for them to be in those overtime matchups. We've seen one of those matchups essentially going in favor of Untamed Esports with that kickoff goal early on. G-Man doing things himself as he brings this one upfield as well into the blue box, threatening this one. He'll leave it laid up for Buffy to kind of have the counterattack. He's not going to find it. It's going to be popped away off to the left-hand side, and you can potentially see something going on here with Diaz, but he lets that one bounce, Gauguin, and for some reason, Seiya went for the demolitions early on.
Yeah, these players choosing to go for the bumps, and speaking of bumps, little team bump there, but G-Man's going to pick it up off the ceiling, look for a shot. It falls to Diaz, though, taken away. But it's really an interesting decision when these players decide to go for the bumps demos and miss the rotation to not go immediately for a challenge on the ball. I mean, obviously, they're trying to fake out the defenders here who are thinking the shot might be coming a lot faster than it really is, but again, you sort of open up that window. A defender could be waiting for that one moment where you're a little too slow to the challenge, and you'll instantly get punished for it. Less than 60 seconds to go, though, and the shot somehow comes out to the near post, saved away by Diaz. Now it's Seiya going back, and G-Man deflects away. Untamed trying to do some good possession control, and so far handling it well. 7 with a nice air dribble, getting out to the sidewall here, challenged by Jay. Buffy will take over. Second touch not there. Seiya will get the clear, centering pass down to Diaz from Seiya. Beautifully done. The shot is wide. 30 to go, and it's anyone's ball game before we approach a potential Game 6 overtime.
That close shot right there as well. Untamed Esports trying to get this one done in regulation. They don't want to head to overtime, or maybe they do, because it's been favoring for them, like I talked about beforehand. The final 20 seconds on the clock now, threatening Untamed Esports off the sidewall, off the back wall now. Here comes Seiya trying to get the clear here, in desperate need of the clear, and Diaz kind of scoops this one up. Final 10 seconds remaining. Here comes Prestige trying to get something going here. Kind of passes backfield. Buffy going to try to catch this one. And I think everyone at this point in time is kind of content with going to that overtime game. But you see G-Man kind of keep this one upfield, and Jay says, no, thank you. I'll go for that golden goal opportunity.
Exactly, and you've got to think, coming off of the kickoff here, I'm going to hold my breath just for a moment as Seven is up for this ball and trying to get a scoring opportunity out of the way. But there we go. We will not have a kickoff goal this time around, and you've got to think that Prestige at this point, they understand what Untamed are capable of off the kickoff, so they play a little bit more conservatively there. But this will be a really interesting test because obviously Prestige, they're up against match point here. Their backs are against the wall. You've got to think that in the neutral game of overtime, they've got an explosive enough offense to find a quick opportunity and seal it away, but they also can't stand to give that open net look that they've given a couple times earlier in the series. This one squeezing out here, Saya with a shot, and it's sent in on the forced own goal.
What a play right here from Jay. Just fakes the pass off the back wall. And you see it, I believe that was Seven, had to use his jump to go off that back wall. And then Saya coming with a threatening shot and has the defense make a mistake for him. And this series is tied right back up, and we're headed into game number 7, Galgan. I want to see the hype in the chat. Let's go.
Let's see it. I know someone in chat who is very hype right now, starting a copy pasta. Bepic hoping that Untamed can clutch it up here on Champions Field and take the Game 7 victory. Look, both of these teams have a very solid chance to take it home. I do want to say, though, about Untamed specifically, you talk about a player like Buffy stepping up here, but Seven and G-Man, aside from some really awesome plays like once or twice during some of the previous games, they've been rather dormant compared to their expectations. So I feel like if Untamed is able to unlock that true potential of all three players excelling to their highest capabilities, they stand a good chance to take this Game 7. But Prestige, I mean, they've been rather consistent. We know what they're coming at us with here in this game number 7. So if they can keep doing what they do best, it's so hard to pick a winner here.
100% it's hard to pick a winner. You tell me beforehand, that we talked about it in the pre-games as well, how close this series was actually going to be. And I told you it was probably a 50-50 split because these teams match so well on paper. I know the Twitter poll said 75% as Buffy's going to score this one early on. Only took 9 seconds this time, Galgan.
You know what? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe G-Man and Seven could just put down the controllers for a little bit and let Buffy just run rampant, because finding these opportunities, even with the defenders contesting, is just an excellent effort here for Buffy. In the first goal, 9 seconds in, fitting the theme of early goals this series, but Untamed definitely happy to be there.
100%. I would love to be in this position as well, being up 1-0 this crucial game number 7. But Prestige definitely need to get things going. They need to go to the old Prestige team that we talked about. I know I kind of cursed them when I said, I don't know who said Prestige was in a slump, but they're wrong. I'm sorry for that in advance, Prestige, but they definitely need to go back to that mindset of just kind of taking over. Look at Seven going for the bait right there. Jay almost had that one dead to rights, but somehow Seven gets the save on the defensive end of that one. But yeah, Prestige definitely needs to wake up and take over and see some of those tough angles and some of those misreads that they were doing earlier on.
Yeah, and maybe it's Untamed feeling a little comfortable here, just kind of flailing around there. Like you said, Seven at the top of the box, able to take the opportunity away regardless. I mean, still need to see that solid defensive rotation out of Untamed. It's been a little stretched out of time, not really by their own fault, but more so by the pressure that Prestige has been able to apply. And they're trying to do the same thing here, but Say is a little slow to turn to this ball, so it will get challenged out, and G-Man will be the first one to it. Untamed immediately open up the zone, and they're doing a really good job here of getting in the face of Prestige, not even allowing these pushes to come out. Again, it's more boost. There's a demo there on Saya. It just keeps piling up here, the pressure that Prestige are facing in their own defensive zone. Getting the pushes out is an added bonus for them right now, rather than something that they need to be executing on.
100% agree with you on that one, but as we almost kind of see a goal there by Jay, just missing contact with that one, laying at the middle of the field. Have a follow-up touch right here from Diaz. Now it's going to be a transition here for Untamed Esports. 7 going off the back wall. Can Buffy have the follow-up touch? He does! And he puts Untamed Esports up 2-0 now.
Powerful one there from the top of the box, and the save nearly gets it outside of that bottom corner, but unable as Diaz just races as fast as he possibly can. But it's Buffy again. Second goal this game, having a performance so far and making Champions Field a little one-sided, but we're still over half of the time remaining, and Saya will send this one to the back wall. Prestige looking for an answer as soon as they can find it.
Yeah, I'm just not seeing the same offense, the same pressure that we've been seeing from Prestige Esports. Look at the whiff right here. on the defensive end. I believe that was Seiya that was trying to save that one. I'm not sure, but to me, that looks like it's on purpose, Galgan. I'm not sure if they're throwing this on purpose or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like at this point, again, we talk about mental resets. This is obviously the point where Prestige need to pump the brakes. They need to stay true to how they play and try and ring things back into their control, find the passes that they were connecting on. But again, it's these touches, awkward ones from Untamed, but still not found by Prestige. Just 7 now playing slow with this one. I mean, honestly, in Game 7 so far, it looks like Untamed are just playing with their food. Jay, though, to the back wall. This could be a nice double. Not quite. Shot is sent wide again. These opportunities here for Prestige have to find the back of the net.
Yeah, they need to capitalize on those ones. Seiya, he just stops at midfield. You just seen him right there. Like I said, that could have been on purpose from Seiya or not. I'm not too sure, but he stopped at midfield just trying to collect that boost. So something's going on with him mentally as far as like in this matchup right now. This one might find its way in the back of the net from a far, far goal, and it does. And 7's going to capitalize on that one and put Untamed Esports up 4-0 now.
It's tough. I'm trying to come up with a formal explanation here, but this is kind of looking like some of my ranked games where a player will just continually vote to forfeit until they're finally able to disconnect without getting a time cooldown. So, you know, it's these open look nets again on the Prestige side of things. Not to discredit the fact that they've taken this all the way to 7, but it just feels like all the steam has left the engine here, and Untamed still have plenty of boost in the tank. 7 finding this challenge at the top of the box. 2 minutes to go, and Prestige, they've got the comeback of a lifetime ahead of them. Not impossible, but certainly going to be difficult.
It's going to be, I would say, pretty much out of reach at this point as far as how good, cast a curse, as far as how good Untamed defensively has been playing, is this one's going to find the way in the back of the net. But, I mean, a minute and 50 seconds, it's definitely doable. But at the same time, they just need to get things kickstarted. And that goal right there could potentially kickstart this offense and wake up this defense as well, because Seiya was the person that was struggling, and he scores that one.
Yeah, we know how fast these teams can score, but I think the problem is, you know, Prestige need to return to some of the games earlier on in the series where they were able to score multiple goals in a row. Oftentimes these teams go goal for goal, maybe 2-1 back and forth between these two squads. So it's not enough here for Prestige to go back and forth. Nice save from Jay, ends up being a nice forward pass. Seiya now, Diaz 1-2-3. The shot goes wide though. Very strong opportunity if it did find its way on target. Jay though sends it, and what a save from the depth there.
Yeah, Buffy with a huge save there. This one might find a way in the back of the net as well. It's going to pay off the right post, maybe in favor of 7, and 7 reads that one perfectly. And Prestige Esports are down by 4 once again.
Listen, it's amazing for Untamed here. They get closer and closer to this Game 7 victory, but that just hurts to watch if you're a fan of Prestige. It really does. The awkward bounce off the post. You're thinking that one might go in and might go out. Depth perception not always working from that angle, but it works in the favor of Untamed very beautifully. They've got a 4-goal lead heading to the final 70 as G-Man takes another one away.
Can't believe what I am witnessing right now. I'm going to be honest with you. I really just feel like, you know, after that first goal, it took 9 seconds, like I said, the second goal crossed, and I feel like, you know, the wind, like you said, left the sail. The steam left the engines for Prestige, and I think it just played a huge mental aspect as far as Seiya goes. You see him just kind of flipping, goofing around here. He knows this one's kind of a little bit over, 45 seconds remaining, and you'd love to see Jay and Diaz still taking this, you know, relatively serious and trying to put something in a serious, or trying to generate some sort of offense here for Prestige. You just see Jay now trying to go for that ceiling reset. If he gets it, going for the double touch now, it's cut off by 7, so good read right here, but Galgan, you don't love to see it if you are Prestige, like you said.
Yeah, you don't love to see this if you're a fan of Prestige, but if you're a fan of Untamed, like I do have to admit, I'm a pretty big fan of Untamed. It is a beautiful sight to see here as they work to close this one out. 10 seconds to go with a 4-goal differential. Bepic is elated right now, holding the sportsbook, getting all the money back and then some on the bet. Full disclosure, no formal betting on this, but Untamed Esports, the 7-game victory against Prestige.
You've got to be kidding me right now. Betpick, the only person besides probably one person on the Twitter poll that voted for Untamed Esports. I'm not taking anything away from Untamed Esports. They're a solid team, and me and you, Galgan, both were conflicted with this one. I just took Prestige because of the fact that I've worked with them before, haven't really had a chance to see Untamed Esports just yet, and from the looks of it, they're very, very impressive. 7 doing exactly what he was supposed to do in this one, you know, kind of peaking. I'm not going to say peaking, but he played to his abilities. He had 2 goals in this one, essentially. Bepic, the script is out, dude. I have no idea where you came from, but please go back to the future.
Yeah, I honestly need to hire Bepic to write some scripts for me because I feel like at this point it has to happen that way. Listen, I mean, Untamed, what else is there to say about them? I feel like a good word that fits how they play is bringing the unexpected, but in a beautiful way, because they just continually find these answers even when their back's up against the wall. You know, Prestige had some pretty solid and convincing victories in this series, and Untamed still found a way through. They exploited the weaknesses in Prestige's gameplay to a perfect level, and my goodness, I mean, this sets them up near perfectly to get either a first or second place finish in their group, and very deservedly so.
I mean, what really impressed me with Untamed Esports was the simple fact that, like I talked about, I said it during the cast, was how much they were producing with a little time that they had on offense. You see Prestige at one point in time, I would say probably in favor of 3, maybe 3.5 minutes of total control time, and they weren't generating too much on the offensive side of things because Untamed was just backed up. They had all 3 members there. They were cool, calm, and collective and just saving things away. And then you would see the transition. You would see Seven or somebody else, essentially Buffy, get a clear, and then things would start to open up, and you saw just a little bit of time that they had on the blue side of the field, and they capitalized on it greatly.
They really did, and it all comes down to that. I mean, a beautiful 7 games. We saw a little bit of everything from all 6 players on the pitch, and I think everybody can go home happy. Some maybe a lot happier than others, Mr. Bepic, but it's the last time I'll touch on that topic until Bepic correctly predicts all the rest of the results for the remainder of group stage.
Marty McFly wants his book back, okay? That's all I have to say about this one. That's
Yeah,
a wrap. You call this one. This is done. Bepic is crazy.
I'll be waiting for it, and I'll make sure to put my, fake melon patch money on all the matches that Bepic bets for. But listen, that is going to do it for tonight's stream, and what an amazing match it was tonight. There's still more Week 2 action to be played out, and for all of that action, plus more in the rest of the group stages, and some talk show action as well that I hear is coming down the pipeline, make sure you follow this Twitch channel, stay tuned, join the Discord, all that good stuff. You are not going to want to miss how the rest of this group stage plays out. For my good friend and co-caster here at Whoops You, for Tazara behind the scenes, pushing all the buttons, and everybody else involved in the production, as well as our friends on the talk show. My name is Galgan. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. That is going to be it for us. Be sure to stay tuned for more Melon Patch League action sponsored by Prestige Esports. We will see you later.
See you guys later.